It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
You're watching The Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. The Forum brought to you by Hayes Med and our guest this week, Guy Windholz. Thank you for joining us. And also, I should say, thank you for your service because you were a county commissioner for a long time, weren't you?
Proudly, 1989 to 1996.
So we remember you with all those city or county commission meetings back then and fighting with everybody? No, I'm just kidding. But the reason why you're in here today is you've got a real passion for this community, real passion for the county, and you are a county commissioner. But the passion that you have now is you are on the Courthouse Preservation Committee. A lot of people don't know that that exists, a Courthouse Preservation Committee. We've got a courthouse. People are saying it's a fine courthouse, and it is now that it's kind of been remodeled somewhat, but there's still projects that you and your committee want to do to preserve it. Unlike maybe some of the old courthouse that was in that area too. But we'll talk about all that and get into that preservation stuff in the second half of the show. But tell me in the first part of the show here, what made you decide to have this this committee or help with this committee to preserve the courthouse?
Well, the committee, and first off, I got to mention who they are because they're the back support for information and the like. So we did appear before the commission one time when in about 2015 they took a metal structure off of the front of the building, and since they did that remodeling elsewhere, it's our last focal side of the Ellis County Courthouse where you can see Ellis County Courthouse. And for us that are on the committee, we have a deep attraction to it. You know, you don't serve in office and not leave a little bit of your heart behind when you do this. And so I'm so pleased that Alberta Klaus, who was a former county clerk, joined forces with us. Phil Martin has a deep interest in history. He's from Ellis. He served on the Ellis Council over there. And Kaylin Philp, I mention her specifically because, wow, she had a father and a grandfather that served as county commissioners. In fact, her grandfather was William Philp, W.D. Philip, and he was commissioner at the time that the 1942 structure, our current courthouse, was being built. So it's nice to have his connection. Alan C. Schmidt, a longtime good friend. He was a former senator in the state legislature, and he's been very, very good. Good support personnel there. Donald J. Walschmidt, who is probably, if you need to vogue a German history, there's your man. But his father was one of those that laid the capstone on around the top of the courthouse, so he has a keen interest in that. And Ken Stewart, who was a city commissioner and mayor for the city of Hayes, has a deep interest in civic responsibility, and we were happy. I think we got a good group that really gelled in putting this together when we appeared before the commissioners.
Now, this courthouse that we have now, we've seen some changes. I was one of those who was happy to see that aluminum structure that was out front go. And the only reason I say that is because I'm kind of more of a traditionalist, and I like to see the traditional structure. And in a traditional structure, back when they first built it in '42, they wouldn't have had that aluminum structure out in front. So and there's reasons why they did it. So, but I'm kind of like that, like you are, kind of like the old structure.
Well, as long as it came down, we were happy to see it come down, but they did it for a noble reason. I don't fault the commissioners at that time. Energy conservation was really a hot topic, and the efforts of opening those doors and the cold air coming in and out, and it was a breezeway basically. So their intentions were very good on that. I kind of wish we could have done a limestone, entryway and have doors, but that being said, our effort now is to clean up that real bad potholes that are in there from putting that structure on together, and some of the tar that's left from the ceiling residue, and bring it back to its original form.
Well, that's kind of my question here in the show, is to kind of get to the nuts and bolts of it. What is the committee planning on doing? What do you want to do? What are some of your visions to do still with the courthouse? What do you want to do with it?
Absent of being a national or a state historic site, it's pretty hard to get all the funds together that we could do, that we would like to do in even taking care of the retaining wall possibly. But It always, like any project, it always hinges on the money aspect of it. But so we're going to do the basics. We're going to get the things that are most prevalent eyesore, and it's because of the weather. The snow, freeze, and ice and once you get water into ice, into cracks in a limestone surface, she's going to split. You know, you look at those things going down the highway, all those charades of limestone always crumbling down. That's water and wind being unfavorable to us. So first order business be in a couple of phases, and to take care of the deck and get that thing taken care of is our first order of business. When the weather gets a little bit better, we hope to get that initiated right now, because we have some funds that can take care of that particular one. And as I might as well just tell you now, we are at the 72% mark on the fundraising for this particular thing. Ellis County's Historical Society is our 501c3 tax deductible entity that donations can be made to in respect to the courthouse project. So that being said, 199, did I mention? Okay. Of those, what was so gratifying to us is, wow, the response of living commissioners, clerks, treasurers, whatnot, former still living commissioners, treasurers and clerks and deeds and stuff like that, and that have come on board. And for those that have passed on before, many of their family members have come on. So of our donors, 52% is people that have some real tight connection to the courthouse.
Well, I know your goal is 150,000. You're at about 106.1 right now, is what it seems like from what I've seen. So you're getting pretty close. You've already raised quite a bit of money, and that money just sits in an account waiting for these projects to be done. Any other projects on the interior that you're thinking of, or is it all exterior?
It's all exterior. The interior is pretty well taken care of now. I mean, with the remodeling that the county did and the jail facilities, that should, I don't suspect anything on that. All of our dollars is earmarked to that west focal point, the last historic thing left. You can't see Ellis County on the north side except one spot on 12th and Main.
So are you thinking about something in the front too, maybe that's not onto the structure, but let's say some signage, some fountains, anything like that?
Not really. I don't think the area would support that, you know, being there. We want to try to take it back to its original state, and a little landscaping, you know, get rid of some of the bad shrubbery in there and stuff, and keep it natural, keep the buffalo grass going, you know. There's a lot of places that will have the sprinklers out, make it nice and green, but you know what? There's something historic about buffalo grass, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how we build all these structures on prairie, you know. And so I would say that the existing grass is going to be left alone.
So if somebody wants to donate to this cause, to your committee, how would they go about donating? Just find one of the board members, or is there like a bank that's holding this for you that would accept that if you took it to there? Any
board members, if you know me personally, I do the deposits, you know, and the Historical Society holds all the funds, so everything is on the up and up, and then the Historical Society is the holder of the funds.
So if we took it to the Ellis County Historical Society, they would take care of getting it to you then?
Yeah, just let them know it's for the Ellis County Preservation Committee.
And then they can take care of that and getting it to your committees. And sure. Is there a timeline? Is there a time that you want to try to finish these projects?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Would that be good?
That would be good.
But at the same time, no, we think when the weather breaks, we will have the crews on board to get that stone started. And there's so many people to thank, you know, and it just doesn't stop with the committee. We've got 2 families locally that donated the limestone to be able to do this. So many of these structures around here, that limestone is ageless. And for the information of the public, the Ellis County Courthouse in 1942 actually came from Shenshin.
Well, that's what I'm going to get into in the
Yeah.
second half of the
Second
show.
half,
We're in the
okay.
second half of the show. We're going
Okay.
to talk about the uprising of this current courthouse that we have, what happened to the old structure, what
Okay.
happened to the fountain. We'll talk about
Right.
all that stuff in the
Sounds
second
good.
half, and even the workforce that came out to take care of that. So that's all in the second half of the
Okay.
show. The show is brought to you by Hayes Med. Guy Windholz is our guest today. I'm Mike Kerner, thanking you for joining us. Again, I'm in for Gary Shorman this week. We'll be right back.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE.
Welcome back to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner. The Forum brought to you by Hayes Med. I'm in for Gary Shorman this week. By the way, if you've got a guest idea, Gary would love to hear from you. Gary.Shorman@eaglecom.net. Our guest today, Guy Windholz, Ellis County Courthouse Preservation Committee. And we were talking in the first part of the show about how people can donate at the Ellis County Historical Society. Make sure they put it for Preservation Society, right? But there's been some really good donors so far already, haven't you had?
Yes, we have, and then they will be recognized, but we don't publicly tell each other. I've had a brother that donated, and he expected me to tell me what his brother gave, and I said, we can't do that. But we just try to keep those things anonymous. Small gifts are as important as big gifts. They all add up to the success of the project. So we want to protect our identities and.
Yeah, well, that's good. Now, let's talk about the courthouse a little bit. The courthouse that we currently see here down on Fort Street, here in 13th and Fort, that structure's been here, it started building in 42, is that right?
42, we celebrated on May 12th of this year. We celebrated, and there was a good turnout of people for that. The 75th anniversary of the courthouse happened.
So,
on May 12th.
A lot of people don't realize this, that there was another courthouse structure that's right behind where the courthouse is currently, kind of where the jail is now, back in that area. And that, I guess, they just ran out of space, and so they needed something larger. So the workforce came along, and there were signs that were put up to look for local people to help build the courthouse. And we can show some recreations of those signs right here. And what they do, they just look for some local workers.
Not exactly. This is an original sign that was actually here. It's a photocopy of one that we had access to, and just transferred it. But that was an aged-looking sign. Normally the WPA, you'd become familiar with this particular sign. That's Works Project Administration, and different. You can Google these and get a good handle on what the WPA was all about. And it was a
program put down by what, Theodore Roosevelt?
Right. It was called the Works Project Administration, and it came about in about 1941 to 1946. I think it ended. Pete Felton has been a great source on a lot of this information for me, and on the limestone history. I have to thank him. He's the first person we thought to go to about limestone. How do we take care of this problem we have? And he was gracious enough to come up and give us some advice on how to do it less expensive. You don't have to take the whole block out. So magically thinking is that you just go in 3 inches, take 3 inches out, and you put a 3-inch piece in. And we get the 3-inch piece from these local donors and have it fabricated over in Ellis, Kansas. So the nice thing too is this money, most of this money has the potential to just stay in our area community. Kansas Granite of Ellis is the ones that are fabricating and have cut the deck material. We just have to size it now for placement. They're the ones that did that. we gave a down payment early on to bring in the granite stones that actually came from the same quarry as the one that was built in 1942. To back up to your question about the courthouse,
I was going to go back there anyway.
There was an 1898 courthouse that was the third courthouse of the county's business or courthouse. It was behind, and then while that was still up, they were building it up front, in the front there, creating that. So.
Yeah, because the old one didn't have elevators in it, it had stairs. This one's got elevators and all of that, and it was kind of unique and new at that time. It was an up-to-date courthouse in 42. There was also a fountain that was back in that area, kind of back by the library area, and a lot of trees in that whole area. Trees have all kind of disappeared over the years, and the fountain, I thought maybe it disappeared, but you say that fountain's still around, but just not in that same area.
Well, and we credit that to Pete Felton, because he didn't let things slide by too fast. That fountain right now, when you're out touring around, you go by the Ellis County Historical Society, just on the west side, there it is. And some gentlemen put that together from the Historical Society. I don't have all their names right away here, but Willie Pfeiffer was one of them. Harold Krause was part of that to get that set in there. But Pete had the foresight to save this, and that's neat. It'd be nice to be able to put it back there, but there just isn't the room. And that was on the east side of the courthouse. So I don't really remember it. I'm old, but not that old.
But there was a lot of activity down that area. In fact, just to the north of the public library, there's the Statue of Liberty, which not many of those around either. So there's a lot of history right in that area from back in the 40s.
Absolutely. There was a wooden gazebo south of the library. We have pictures of that, and we'll be glad to post that on there. Incidentally, we do have a Facebook page. It's called Ellis County Courthouse Preservation Committee. So we post some pictures on there. You can go to that and you can see videos of the actual work that's being done is being done over in Ellis, Kansas Granite, with the saw cutting the granite and the limestones for this project that'll be brought over. The fountain and Pete's efforts on that has been so instrumental, Well,
let's go back to this Works program again.
Sure.
The Works program, you just found people to come and help build the courthouse, and it was just regular people off the street, got paid for it and everything, just people during the Depression area that needed some work and some income.
Exactly, and that was the whole idea. I often wonder too, why didn't you just take the 1898 courthouse stone and use it to build your other stone? The whole idea was to get these people working, get them going. So they went out there north of Shenshin and got in there with their tools. And there's only a certain layer of that limestone, that is, and you'll always see this little watermark on ours. If you ever have a chance to go by the courthouse, look at the precision that Ralph Hunter did when those guys worked. Some guys would work all day for 32 cents an hour. They can only work over no more than 35 hours a week, but it gave everybody an opportunity to make something and kept a lot of families alive. A lot of guys went home with a little bit of sawdust in their mouth and on their clothes to feed their families. This was probably one of the best programs I think in the United States as far as getting people to work.
So it was a great program that was out there, and if people want to, they can Google those pictures and find out about it. In closing here, we want to talk a little bit about this area right here, which is thanking some more people, and I guess what you've got left to do, right?
Just hoping people will look on that. Alan Schmidt put together at some time, we had met with Mike Cooper one time, and Alan Schmidt pretty well on our committee, pretty well summed it up, and then I'll read his words. It's that we're not about preserving just about preserving our history. We're also about preserving our historic structure. And we come together because we realize that the local government has a lot of demands on it, placed on them, and a lot of people expect a lot out of the government. So it was kind of a give back program. One president that alluded to, you don't ask the government what it can do for you, ask what you can do for the government. So it was a genuine effort to help the county out a little bit. in fact, probably kept your mill levy down a little bit because of the private citizens that came forward and did this. But the support for these structures isn't just about the mortar and the stone. It's the foundation of our people. It's the center place of our community that started it all. A lot of people got their marriage certificates up there, right? A lot of people got their birth certificates up there and whatnot at the courthouse. And it's just our feeling that, you know, we got to respect that generation. We got to honor that generation, what they did for us, and we've got to pass it down to the next generation and hope they'll preserve, I think, is probably the most important structure Ellis County has. I defy anybody to show that Ellis County doesn't have the most historic stories and life.
And
from Western to modern times.
And people can go to the Ellis County Historical Society and read about all of that stuff.
Please go down there and support them. Their efforts are tremendous. I can't thank them enough for the research they do for the people and for us. And I want to put a plug in for the Ellis County Historical Society that we think about them. And next project, we got to get together. We got to keep that Lady Liberty standing tall and in good shape too. 235 in the United States. Am I running out of time?
You're out of time.
Okay.
But that's okay. And they didn't cost that much at the time.
Okay.
At the time they probably cost a lot, but we don't. In today's money, that wasn't.
Well, we want to recognize the donors in the first 2 pages of the booklet. That'll be talking about some history, talking about a lot of pictures about where we are here. There aren't a lot of pictures back from those days. Ed Eakey took a real good one with Ralph Hunter, talking to his guys out front. We have that. It's on our Facebook page, so please look at that. Thanks to Casual Graphics was great about taking this negative and turning it into a really solid-looking picture. So there's a lot of people behind here. In-kind services has done wonders for us and has saved this county a lot of money.
Tell us that Facebook page again.
Ellis County Courthouse Preservation Committee. Kind of a long one.
That's okay.
But we hope you'll enjoy it, and we'll try to keep it updated as much as possible.
And you're one of the committee members. It's Guy Windholz. And I want to thank you for all the time you served
thank
here
you.
in the Hayes area, Ellis
Appreciate
County
it.
area. And he's our guest today here on the forum. And if you need more information, of course, you can go to that Facebook page and check that all out. I'm Mike Kerner, in for Gary Shorman this week on the forum. Thanks for joining us.
Are you frustrated with Wi-Fi dead zones in your home? It happens when you don't have Boost, the cutting-edge Wi-Fi solution from Eagle Communications. A Boost-certified Eagle technician maps your home, then installs a dual-band modem and router, plus discrete access points to deliver wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with no dead zones. Boost powers all your family's devices in all the places you love to live. Get Boost. Wi-Fi made simple. Only from Eagle Communications. Call today.